You are.
No, you do.
Hello guys, it's Anmol and Gerdev here. We've invested in a bit of money today to upgrade our equipment. We've got a holder for our phone so that we can better communicate and present on this live telecast. We're just driving past an area of Bella Vista Waters where there's an event going on. We're trying to find out what that is. So as soon as we know, we'll let you know as well. There's a lot of... Let's show you if I can.
Hi guys.
Say hello, yep.
Hello.
So, okay, tag. Hello Tracy, welcome to this live. We've got Sam, Tracy coming on. We've got the audience building up, which is great. So just a wrap up of what we've seen in the market of last week. Firstly, in terms of the open homes that we had today, we have, and I'm quoting the quote that I saw recently at Lisa Novak's timeline, which is that the rain only brings in the serious buyers and frizzy hair, which is so true because the level of attendance that we had today was lower than what we've seen at other weeks. But we had serious buyers come through that are keen, motivated, and looking at making a decision soon, which is great to see. So that's what we've seen in the open homes, about the 6 odd open homes that we had today. Following on from last week, the Riverstone property has now been leased, which is great. It is yet to be finished, but we've already got a tenant. Again, that was building up with the level of interest that we had for that particular area and the type of property that was. We'll be touching a little bit about property management and the features that mostly are requested by the tenants, for those that are building and looking at what to put in, or even those features that can be put in retrospectively to attract more tenant demand. So I'll touch on that today. We'll talk about the property of the week, highlighting what we've got currently and what's working well with that property. Then we're also going to be talking about a light bulb moment. Now this particular segment, again, being a family owned agency, we're always looking at ways of how we can add value to you and to your family, and by talking about things that affect us as a family unit and what a lot of people would have gone through. So stay tuned for that one. That's a bit of a funny story coming, and then we'll end up with a finance update following on from my husband Gadev's appearance on Channel 7. He's just going to talk a little bit more about the finance and what we're seeing in terms of approvals. So to kick off, we're going to speak about the property of the week. Now, this particular property is located in the newly formed suburb of Norwest, which is a suburb of close to Bella Vista, Borkham Hills, and what else would you say, Kellyville. So in June last year, the boundaries for Kellyville, Borkham Hills, Bella Vista have changed, which has given rise to 2 new suburbs, North Kellyville and the suburb of Norwest. Now, Norwest is a pocket which I'm not sure if any of you are completely familiar with this area, but the most famous landmark of this area is the Hillsong Centre, as well as the Norwest Lake, and now the train station that's coming up, the Northwest Rail Link, where you'll be seeing the 2 new stations within this area being Norwest and Bella Vista. So this particular pocket was formed or officially given the title of Norwest in about June last year, and we have since, once with the change, we currently hold the record sale in that suburb as well, which is 2.175 at 9 Country Club Circuit. So this particular pocket, the way that it is presented, especially with the level of investment being put in by Malfa, which the company that owns majority of the land here, they're planning to make it a smart city. So there's a lot of potential for this particular pocket of the Hills district, where we're seeing a lot of demand, especially for properties that are closely located to the new train station. So this particular property, 17 Jacqui Cct, Norwest, is a duplex, which is a community titled duplex, 3-bedroom, built by Groma Homes, which is a quality builder in this area. And at the time that it was built for defence housing. So that the quality of build that's gone in it is, by far the best. And the best thing about this particular property is that it is walking distance to the train station. You can literally put in a door in the backyard to go, within 2 minutes of walking off the Norwest train station. So definitely a highlight property of the week. Moving on to the rental side of things. So from just a bit of an overview of the kind of features that we are getting requests to put in retrospectively into the properties, or even those that are looking at building, these are the things that we're finding that the tenants are valuing the most. 3 things that we've found is, firstly, aircon. If the property has either ducted system or split system aircon, that is attracting a lot of interest comparing to those properties that don't. When you look at a lot of the packages that you are building, that the ready-made properties or the ready-made packages to build a property, aircon is that added, that's not always included in the base price. So it pays to get that as an additional feature within the property, because those that are choosing, if you had a choice of one with the aircon, one without, you definitely go with the one that has that, especially ducted. What we've also seen is that those that are looking at putting in split systems, the cost of putting in, say for example, 3 split air systems is far exceeding what you would put in for the ducted air conditioning. So you're better off spending that sort of money for a ducted air conditioning, which is going to be providing both upstairs and downstairs if it is a double-story home, or throughout the house it's being covered. So that's one feature. The second is gas. Now, gas cooking, again, obviously it's a no-brainer. A lot of people are preferring that over electric cooking, and a lot of these features that we're finding being requested are from old properties when they had electric cooking, and what we've seen, there are a number of areas that natural gas is not yet available. However, there are alternatives. So there is the bottled gas, and from when we've done some research and what we've found from a usage perspective, and this is how we're promoting this to the tenants as well, usage perspective, the bottled gas is ending up being far more efficient in terms of pricing than natural gas. So from an owner's point of view, you're only paying the higher of the cylinders. They're normally put in 2 cylinders at a time, and from the tenant's point of view, they're only paying the usage. And the good thing is, those 2 bottles, depending on what you're using it for, but roughly they're lasting 4 to 6 months, which is at cost of about $250, which is quite effective. The third feature that we are getting requested on is fly screens. Again, from ventilation point of view, so looking at the comfort of those occupying the property. If the windows, especially the doors, the front and back doors, have fly screens, that is something that is appealing more compared to a property that doesn't, and if it doesn't, that is a request that we're getting from our tenants to put in afterwards. So those are the 3 things that we've found in the properties that we've currently leased that are expected to be the features that the tenants are wanting in the properties. So anyone that is building, I would definitely recommend those three key features to be looked at. Now I'll pass you on to Gurdev for a finance update before we end on the light bulb moment of the week and what we've seen. So I'll put you through to him and let's see what he's got.
Hi guys, how you going? I'm just following up from last week. So basically, even doing a number of applications this week, we've realized after checking credit reports, customers are unaware of their commitments, utility bills, credit cards, payments on times, which have affected a number of applications, which has resulted in basically processing those applications through second, third tier lenders, which specialize in non-conforming products. So basically, you've got to be careful out there. I think customers are still unaware of what's happening. It's only they're realizing when we're submitting the applications that they're late on payments. So just be careful out there, guys. Also, in regards to interest-only loans, what we're seeing is that majority of the loan book is expiring this year / next year. So if you're out there looking to extend your interest-only loan term on your investment property especially, there are options out there to convert that. Just speak to your local finance broker or give us a shout out. We are more than happy to help. The major banks are slightly tight on increasing the interest-only investment lending at the moment, especially on owner-occupied loans. But ANZ has come out last week. They've started lending at 90% interest-only. Other major banks are following. Not all are doing at the moment. But we're starting to slowly see a relaxing of policies in that regard. So overall, the lending is still quite tight out there. Credit is tight. But there are second, third tier lenders out there which you can still get deals over the line. But if there's anything else that we can help with, give us a shout out. I'm more than happy to help. We specialize not only in residential funding, we also do commercial, business, car finance. So any type of finance, I'm more than happy to help. Thank you guys.
So I guess basically my key takeout out of that is the fact that if you are late on payments, that is also being picked up. So not just missing payments completely, but the fact that if you are regularly being late on payments, that is affecting your ability to get credit, and that is showing up on your credit report.
Also, another point to add is banks have more information than ever before. So it is open banking at the moment. So they know exactly what is happening, and the scrutinization of living expenses, it's never been higher to the levels that it is today. So
you can't hide anything from the bank. So I'll just say hello to a few people that we have. We've got Harmeet, Navneet, Yeshvi, Sandesh, Satnam, Amrit, Mukesh. Hi guys. Hi to everyone that's watching. So just to end up the market wrap, what we've seen in terms of the light bulb of the moment, so of the week. So basically, again, as I was saying, this is the realization of what is affecting a lot of families out there, and the light bulb moment comes from the fact that we didn't realize this before. So what it was, so the story goes, so it's to do with the hail damage that recently happened, so the hailstorm, and the insurance claims in that regard. So we had a car which is about 10 to 15 years old, A to B car. Never thought of doing anything with it because of its market value not being where it should be. So it's always been our go-to car, or A to B car, just to transport things. But we were having a chat with our neighbour who had severely being affected by the hailstorm, and he said, look, have you thought about getting the car assessed for hail damage and seeing what they say? And we thought, well, look, no, there's a bit of dents, but we didn't think that would be that substantial to warrant it to be repaired. But what we found is when we took in this car and another car which had probably visible about 3 to 4 hailstorm marks, is that these particular guys, A, there is no cost to get your car assessed, but B, they've got this technology where they've got lights, they've got different things that they're looking at, and they picked up a lot more than what was visible to the eye. And as a result, one of the cars were written off, which is great, we're getting a new car, and the other one had some damage which we hadn't realized otherwise. So that is being repaired at the moment, which we wouldn't have known if we hadn't taken it. So if any of you out there were affected by the hailstorm, definitely get in touch with your insurers to see, because these guys have set up hail assessment centers throughout Sydney, and they specialize in this. And that's apparently, I've been told, they follow the storms throughout Australia for this. So they're quite specialist in what they do. And if you think that it's not that bad, but potentially requires, because the last thing you want is sort of it affecting the ability of the car to be used to its potential. So definitely worth checking out, so that to see if it is something that can be fixed or otherwise written off, and potentially time for a new car. Thank you everyone for watching. Hello again. I've seen Masha come up, Prabjot, Sharon. Thank you for coming through. Let us know if there's anything else that you have any questions about. Next week we will be looking at, again, to as we've mentioned previously, being a boutique, independent and a family owned agency, we do operate throughout Sydney in different suburbs. So what we want to be able to bring to you guys is a suburb profile, not just on numbers and what what's happening in the suburb, but also what we are seeing when we are hosting open homes in those suburbs, what the demographic is like, what kind of people are coming through, and who is living in those sort of areas, and any interesting facts of those suburbs. So that's coming up next week. We'll be starting off with, hello Bernard, we'll be starting off with Vista Waters, which is the area we've lived in and we are currently operating in, and you'll know more about what we've seen in this area as a resident and as a business operator, and then we're moving on to a number of other suburbs throughout Sydney that we have properties in. Thank you very much for watching. All the best. Have a great rest of the Saturday, and we'll see you next week.